and I picked Clemson to win the national championship. I just think that, and I think there are a lot of other people who like Clemson as well. I don't know about whether or not they're picking them to win the national championship, but main reason why most people like Clemson is because of all this returning experience they have, which is very important today in the day we're living in with the transfers. And if you can bring back quality players, quality experienced players like Clemson has, you got an edge. And they're already a well-coached team. We know that. And then you throw in the fact that they got one of the best quarterbacks in college football too, and they're going to be battle tested. And there's no reason to think that they can't have a really special season and maybe win their third title under Dabo.
Yet they could lose to LSU in their opener, but still win the national championship. That's how we've pretty much deflated the regular season in college football, and it will be deflated even more if the Big Ten has their way. But anyway. You're right. Everything you said is pretty much on target. They do return a great number of their players, especially on the offensive side. And they added a good-looking receiver in the transfer portal in Tristan Smith. They've got the other receivers returning, Wesco and T.J. Smith. And they get Tyler Brown back off the injured list. They have Antonio Williams. They're loaded there. You know about Klubnik. Now, there are some questions, however. Running back situation where they took Adam Randall and they moved him from wide receiver to running back. He had a little bit of an ankle injury. I'm sorry. I think it was more of a knee. Had a little bit of a knee about a week or so ago coming out of a scrimmage, but he seems to be okay. He's going to be your top running back, and we'll see how well he handles that transition. They say he's fine. They say he does a great job. You did see him in the playoff game. Interesting that, they in the ACC championship game, when they beat SMU, they lost their one of their top running backs in Jay Haynes to a knee injury. They were already down a running back. In that game, Randall returned a kickoff that set up the winning field goal and showed a lot of moves that people didn't know he had. And I think from that is where they got the idea. Well, you know what? Maybe he can play running back for us. And they worked him out there during playoff prep when they went to Texas, and he did a good job. And he became the full-time running back in the spring. So that's an experiment. We'll see how it works out. Up front, they've got everybody back on the offensive line, which generally speaking is a good thing. Walker Parks did suffer an injury in their scrimmage, not this most recent scrimmage. He didn't scrimmage, the one before.
Okay.
So he has been out at right guard. And so Dabo Swinney said he will be fine. He's not expecting him to miss the LSU game.
Okay.
But if he is out, what they will do is probably take Harris Sewell and plug him in at right guard, have Colin Sadler at left guard. Now, Sadler is a guy that's has a history of injuries, and how much you can depend on him just remains to be seen. Lee is solid at the left tackle, and the right tackle is Miller. So those positions are solid, and they got solid backups as well. So, but there is that question mark at right guard in particular right now. So running back, right guard, kind of a question mark. Tight ends look solid. Same guys are back.
Who do they have a clear number one with Brenningstool out? Gone,
yeah.
NFL?
Olsen Pat Henry is going to be the starting quarterback.
Okay.
Olsen Pat Henry, backed up by Josh Sapp. Now, Pat Henry's been dealing with a little bit of injury as well that has given Sapp a lot more work in camp, and he's done well. And they love Christian Bittencourt also. So those are three solid. They had a little issue off the field with the tight end over the weekend, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Former basketball player got into a little bit of trouble with a DUI, pulled over by the Clemson police, talking about Shefflin here. So he's not going to be available for who knows how long. Swinney said they'll hold him out of early competition. So, but he wasn't expected to be a major contributor anyway. So that's all good. And place kicking is good. They've got a place kicker with a good, strong leg, of course. So
what was up with all the blocks last year?
They had trouble on the edges. They had blocking issues, either their scheme or their personnel. They spent a lot of time understanding camp, getting the right people on the field goal protection team and the punt protection team to make sure that they're knocking people. I guess guys were getting straight shots to the kickers and were blocking kicks. It became a joke for them. Speaking of that, and one of the reasons why, you have to think about these things. They have not solved their punting situation, and Sweeney did not take a punter from the portal.
Okay.
And so the punting situation remains up in the air going into this week. So and from what I've read, I haven't seen it myself. You got Jack Smith, who's supposed to be the guy, and apparently not very impressive in camp. Not only do they not have a number one punter, but the punting has not been very impressive from what we understand. So
okay,
I mean that in tight ball games where you're leaning heavily on your defense, I mean, punting can be crucial, flipping the field and pinning teams back. Now we'll see what happens. This guy could turn out to be tremendous. So that would be another area of concern. So you throw that in there along with running back and the right guard situation. They got a few question marks right there before you turn your attention to defense.
Yeah, and the defense, again, loaded with returning talent, especially up front, with T.J. Parker at the edge and Peter Woods at tackle. I mean, these two are the top players at their positions, respective positions in all of college football. They added the transfer from Purdue, Helt. Do you think that we have him as a starter here? Is that the case? Is Helt going to start? And is he the top transfer? Because I don't know. They only brought in, I think, 3.
He is on the defensive side. He is the top transfer. Well, and Jeremiah Alexander as well. And they love him. They think he's been fantastic. Keep an eye on Jaheim Lawson. He has that's Shaq Lawson's little brother, and he has really he's much that picture you're showing. He's probably twice that size. He's really put on size.
He needed it. Yeah.
Yeah. He was like 185 pounds, 200 pounds coming out of Daniel High School. Yeah. He's really put on the weight and he's really impressed in camp. So he and helped. One of those will be 1A, 1B. He's going to play a lot. Of course, T.J. Parker on the other side it was fantastic last year. I think 11 and a half sacks. So you can expect another big year. They moved Peter Woods inside, and that's his natural position. He's put back on. His weight is appropriate for where he's going to be playing. His speed, his quickness. He's going to be a handful. Capehart is a little bit of a question mark. He's had an up and down career at Clemson, and this will be his first opportunity to be the guy. But you might see Amir Adams, the freshman, has had a really good camp. And if Capehart doesn't handle his business, you could see Adams slide up in there. Stephilion Green is another one they've been very high on. Heaven Brown Schuler is another one who's had a really good camp. I mean, Vic Burley, they've got, they're really 3-4 deep at both of those positions as far as rotating guys in and out. Linebacker Sammy Brown and Wade Woodaz will be your starters. And Brown gives them a tenacious linebacker, excellent speed as a freshman last year. He was fantastic. And of course, Woodaz is a chiseled old veteran. I mentioned Alexander is a guy that's come in and had an impact right away. And then the one question mark in their secondary, their corners look outstanding with Hampton and Terrell. They look really good. There is one question at the safety position with whether it's going to be really a kind of both safety positions. Is it going to be a Griffin? Is it going to be Barnes? Ricardo Jones has had some moments in camp where he's been getting some strong looks. Barnes has had a bit of an injury. Early part of the camp. I think here recently he's gotten healthy and has gotten back out there. So they're a little bit in flux there at the safety position. You got Shelton Lewis locked in at the nickel position, and of course he could slide over and play some safety if necessary. Tink Kelly is you have him there as by his given name, but his nickname is Tink. He's another one from Daniel, and he's had a good camp and has been getting some mention from Dabo Sweeney. So keep an eye on him because he's Now, he came there as a wide receiver, and they moved him to the secondary, and apparently he's done well there. So,
okay.
Defense looks very solid, except for, I'd say, the safety spots still need to be firmed up and determined here going into the game.
Okay. So let's get on some of these things then. You mentioned Amari Adams is looking good. So, and he was the 5-star. So he was the big guy coming in as far as true freshman. So he's showing that that's no fluke there. Is that the case? We're going to see playing time. You think it's possible that he's going to play all season?
Yes, I do think so. I think you're going to see him in the rotation. He's a good player. He was a good player in high school, and they knew what they were getting in him. Same thing with Heaven Brown-Schuler, that from the previous class, that he was such a highly touted defensive tackle. And I think he got a little sniff of playing time some last year, redshirted. So he'll have a chance to contribute in a major way. Again, they're deep at defensive tackle. Now, some of these guys, like those two I mentioned, we haven't seen that much from Champ Thompson. We haven't seen all that much from Stephilion Green. They're going to get their chance going into this season with the rotation the way it's going to be, assuming they're able to take some of these frontline guys out and work in some of the depth. I think you're going to see more of these guys moving forward this season.
So as far as the depth guys at defensive tackle, Adams and Brown-Schuler, you think those are the two guys that we really should keep on the most?
Well, again, I think Vic Burley is going to be heavily in the mix as well. Yeah. And I think Stephilion Green is another one. I'm just going by what we're told by Dabo Swinney at his press briefings, who are guys he's naming it. But he names all these guys. All these guys have gotten mentions as standing out at one point or another in practices and in scrimmages. So you could see any kind of a mix. But, I think you're pretty much set on your starters. I think you're in pretty good shape with Adams and Burley as your number twos. But then again, don't be surprised if you see Green or Thompson slide up in there and get significant snaps.
Okay. All right. So and I know you mentioned the safeties, that might be something to keep an eye on, but overall, as far as the defense is concerned, is there anything in particular that you think they have to do better than they did last year to be a championship team?
Well, first of all, they replaced their defensive coordinator with Tom Allen. And Tom Allen has brought an entire new level of intensity. He's brought a Brent Venables level of intensity. He's brought a Brent Venables style of coaching. Now, what they've done here, he came in as linebackers coach and defensive coordinator, but Ben Boulware has taken over the linebackers, their former great linebacker.
Oh, yeah. So
they moved him. They kind of let Allen just handle everything and oversee everything and let Boulware focus on coaching the linebacker. So really, Ben Boulware is your linebackers coach, and Allen is overseeing everything. And just the defensive players, they love him. They say the energy at which he coaches, the energy that he has brought to the practice field, they just love it. So, and he's a smart guy. They had some tactical errors last year. I think if you go back and look and listen to people, and they had a relatively young, inexperienced defensive coordinator that Dabo Swinney, as he tends to do, promoted from within his program, thinking that when Venables left, that this was going to be a good fit and going to work out. But after last year, especially the demise against South Carolina, where they will tell you they had wrong personnel on the field when Lenore Sellers broke off that iconic touchdown run to win the game. They didn't have they were too light. They didn't have linebackers on the field. They had safeties whatever the case may be. They just weren't aligned properly. And of course, they had trouble stopping the run last year. They had trouble. Citadel rushed for about 300 yards on them. Louisville moved the ball up and down the field on them. South Carolina ran the ball up and down the field. They had trouble stopping the run. So they feel like Tom Allen is the man to fix all that and has done that in this camp. Let me say this about Clemson. You talk about them win the national championship and all of that, and it's fine to say that. It's a decent thought and it's good conversation. But I tell people here, and I have to tell you that this is basically the same team they had last year. And that team last year played 3 SEC teams. They played Georgia, they played South Carolina, they played Texas. I only bring up SEC because if you're going to win the national championship, you got to be able to handle the SEC.
Sure, at some point.
In those 3 games, they only averaged 14 points per game against 3 SEC teams. So the question is, can you expect Clemson to be that much better this year? Are they built for the SEC or are they built for the ACC? You know?
The thing that I tell you right now, and I think that's a great point, no question about it. And the reason why I'm a little bit more optimistic about it is like I said at the open, when I look at all these, like you just said, there's so much turnover from those teams that Clemson doesn't have that turnover. Yes, they got to be better than they were last year, but that's expected because you've got another year in the system. The players that were good will hopefully even be better. Klubnik is one of them. They didn't have a running game, as you said, in those key games, especially in the playoff game. They had nothing, as you know. They didn't get anything out of the running game. Now, we don't know if they're going to get anything running game this year, but we hope they got the whole season to find someone. So that's kind of the way I look at it, is that I think that they're going to have a little bit of an edge because of everybody coming back. But I think you hit it on the head when you said, can they beat SEC teams? Because again, these teams will be SEC teams again that they're going to face, but it's just going to be a collection of different players.
Yeah, you're right. Now I will say LSU does return their quarterback.
Yep.
They replenished their receiving core through the portal a pretty good bit. Took a couple transfers, I think, on their offensive line. Have Harold Perkins back on defense, kind of the leader on that defense. So they got some good players back. That's going to be a heck of a game.
Yes, good test
to open up at Clemson's Death Valley.
Yep.
And Clemson will be a slight favorite, but I'm not so sure that LSU won't win that game, to be honest with you. Simply because of what I'm saying. Clemson played Georgia last year, neutral site in Atlanta, and just got totally whipped.
Oh, yeah. Terrible.
Manhandled, totally whipped, physically whipped. They went on. Of course, they did lose a game to Louisville in the ACC, and they lose to South Carolina. And they were very fortunate. They were very fortunate to play for the ACC championship, remember, because they needed Syracuse to
upset Miami.
They needed Syracuse to beat Miami. Right. Yep. And Miami had the big lead. Syracuse came back, rallied, and won. And then, of course, they beat SMU and had to have a long 64-yard field goal to do that. So I'm just saying they took some lumps along the way last season, and they had some good fortune that helped them get to where they got to. So just head up, man on man with LSU. LSU is LSU. They're an SEC team. Brian Kelly, I think, has circled this game for a long, long time, knowing that really the pressure's on him.